Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Excellencies, distinguished ministers, honorable justice leaders, esteemed academics, ladies and gentlemen. I'll start by extending my sincere thanks to the United Arab Emirates as our hosts for convening this important and forward-looking discussion, and for creating a space where experience, ideas, and responsibility meet. The Republic of Kosovo is a country built through courage. Ours is a story of moving from survival to sovereignty, from a war-torn land to a state that designs rules to the benefit of its citizens. Step by step, with the support of trusted allies and friends, Kosovo has built a legal and regulatory architecture that placed democracy at its core and justice as its main pillar. What once was fragile today became durable. Today, Kosovo is no longer only a beneficiary of international solidarity. We are a contributor to it, a country that learned fast, built smart, and now speaks with confidence. From building institutions from scratch to refining them with true purpose, Kosovo has become a living example that resilient, rules-based, and purpose-driven societies are communities that are not only inherited, they're also engineered in the most positive sense. And that the best way to honor the support that we have received from friends and partners around the world is to also offer the world what we have learned. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak to you today as the president of the youngest democracy in Europe, firmly committed to strengthening the rule of law and constantly advancing its democracy. I also speak to you as someone who has lived the law from within, as a lecturer, a legal scholar, and as someone that was directly involved in contributing to building the constitutional and institutional foundations upon which Kosovo stands today. Building justice, crafting regulation that must endure, and protecting rights while societies evolve is among the most difficult responsibilities in public service. But it's also one of the most consequential. Today, lawmaking is no longer simply about producing functional rules. It's also about shaping the future of our citizens in an age of profound transformation. Kosovo understands what it means to build institutions after devastation. Our institutions were built in the aftermath of a genocidal war, following a regime that sought to erase our people and deny our very existence. Rebuilding, therefore, meant creating a future where citizens could finally see law as a protection. Building democracy required strong governance, strong accountability, and aligning our legal order with the highest international standards and protections. Today, Kosovo is driven by a new generation, connected to global ideas, anchored firmly in democratic values, and determined to build institutions that truly belong to its citizens. Our own experience has taught us that reform cannot be episodic. Resilience grows when institutions evolve while remaining legitimate. So nations in transition must ask not only whether the laws can be changed, but also whether systems can be reimagined in a way so that justice remains meaningful in tomorrow's world. Passing legislation is important, but building institutions that deliver fairness, integrity, and equal access is the true test of leadership. In Kosovo, we have seen how deeply justice shapes governance itself. When citizens believe that courts are impartial, they believe in the state. When justice feels distant, democracy also feels fragile. That is why trust building stands at the center of our rule of law agenda. Kosovo continues to be firmly committed to strengthening judicial independence, accountability, and access to justice for all. But one of the most important responsibilities before us is ensuring that justice does not remain anchored in an analog world while society moves into the digital reality. The digitalization of justice is not merely a technical upgrade. It is a human rights imperative too. So my call for digitalization is not about trends or tools. It's about people. It is about ensuring that justice is no longer perceived as some distant system in endless paperwork, in closed doors, in a language that ordinary citizens struggle to understand. Digital transformation must bring justice closer to the people, enabling our citizens to access information easily, to follow their cases, and to interact with institutions without unnecessary barriers. So when guided by values, technology becomes a bridge between institutions and the people that they serve. At the same time, we approach digitalization with responsibility. Technology must always remain anchored in rights, in fairness, and in democratic oversight. Technology should expand justice, and innovation should strengthen the rights of our people. Sometimes, as you all know, progress does not come from adjusting existing structures. Sometimes it requires the courage to entirely rethink a system from the ground up. After the war, Kosovo was not only rebuilding infrastructure, we were also rebuilding the very foundations of justice. We had to design institutions capable of earning trust, upholding rights, and serving a society determined to move forward. This work continues as our democracy matures and as the needs of our citizens also evolve. No system succeeds on structure alone. Citizens place their trust not in buildings, but in integrity. Justice is ultimately carried by people, by judges who act independently, by prosecutors who act ethically, by institutions that act transparently, and they're all people, not buildings. Trust is built through consistent action, through fairness that citizens can experience and feel, and through institutions that demonstrate every single day that no one stands above the law. We must ensure that artificial intelligence, automation, and emerging technologies do not deepen the inequality that exists in so many countries around the world or even weaken rights. So, as you know, this forum asks an important question about who owns innovation tomorrow. Our answer is simple. Innovation must belong to society, and law must ensure that innovation serves humanity. As we know, technology always evolves faster than the legislation that we adopt. Risks appear before any regulation exists. Expectations rise quickly, and then institutions are asked to adapt under consistent time pressure. The question, though, is not whether legal systems will face change. We already know that. The question is whether they can keep pace without losing the moral foundation. In times of rapid transformation, the rule of law becomes even more essential than before. It protects rights in uncertainty, and it anchors accountability in innovation. So our joint task, I believe, is to build legal frameworks that are flexible enough for the future and firm enough to commitment to dignity, fairness, and trust. As we navigate digitalization, institutional reform, and technological transformation, we must never lose sight who all of this is for. Who is it for? Behind every law stands a person, a citizen seeking justice, a family seeking protection, a community seeking fairness. Behind all of this is the people. Progress without people, after all, is always fragile. Innovation without rights of those people is always incomplete. So no matter how complex the future becomes, we must hold onto a compass, the moral compass that does not change. And that compass is human rights. When justice remains rooted in dignity and governance remains anchored in the equal worth of every single person, every single human being, nations in transition become nations of resilience, trust, and confidence in the future. Thank you very much.